I like that comment of trade-off. So I want to talk about that in particular because we were together in terms of our partnership for a period of time, a couple of years there. And obviously you had history in being a partner with HubSpot before that. You've had history thereafter. One of the things that I want to hear your thoughts on, I'm really interested in, is that decision process. When you talk about deciding at some point in your business's growth, the trajectory may accelerate or change or otherwise by investing in time with another business. So what I'm talking about is that partnership dynamic. And I'm personally very intrigued by it. Quite frankly, throughout my own career in, supporting partners like you and now in go-to-market strategy and all the kind of gambit in between, one of the most common themes is not just what makes the decision make sense in terms of like, what are the incentives and what is the value to both parties and whatnot, but inherently, and I don't want to get perhaps too prophetic here, but like, what is the value of partnership? What is the conceptual idea of why two businesses should work together toward a collective outcome? And what you were describing to me is this idea of that each of these decisions have, logically impact. Is it that kind of Robert Frost statement of like, two roads diverge in a wood, right? And so like, do you go left? Do you go right? How do you think about that? So if we rewind time way back, if you will, and we look at that perhaps wicked problem, or if nothing else, that unique opportunity, what led to you thinking about partnering with, at the time, a much larger organization and trying to grow with us?
So, it's a really interesting question. And I think to some degree it comes down to how you define what is partnership. And to me, I view partnership very much through meta. And to some degree, I think I was lucky because I partnered before partnering was part of the core playbook. And I maintain that the HubSpot partner program, as an example, if HubSpot had ever intended to build a partner program that would have the impact that its partner program has, it would never have achieved it. It happened almost because it was ignored for so long, is what enabled it to form. And that is, I think there's a couple of things. First off, wicked problems are big. They can't be solved by any one person. A journey, independence, it beats dependence, but there's a ceiling on independence. To really get to anything approaching potential, whether you're talking internal or external, you have to move to interdependence. And so whether you're officially partnered with somebody, before I worked with HubSpot, I wasn't partnered, but we'd use this or we'd use that, and I'd communicate here and I'd communicate there. It's not an accident that product companies don't scale as service companies and service companies don't scale as product companies. And again, it goes back to a trade-off. There's different things, there's different elements, and they're different languages. So they're very complementary skill sets. But even as HubSpot gets bigger, I mean, heck, you can look at companies like Accenture, McKinsey, et cetera. The nature of culture, there's a hierarchy. It's a natural element, right? It's not alpha. It's just there's who's the hero there? What's the stories? Where's that trade-off to? And if you're going down the product angle to maximize what you're going to do on the product side, you can't support the service pieces. You can hit some key elements, but you have to, if you're going to build a service organization, you have to skunkworks it. It has to basically be a distinctly separate organization, and vice versa. Why did I choose the path that I chose? Well, one thing is I firmly believe that if anyone says what they're doing is unique, it's either not worth very much, they don't have a lot of exposure, or they're lying. And what I mean by that is if you're doing something that works, that truly works, then it's got to be based in truth. And if it's based in truth, other people are going to realize that truth. Now they're going to realize it in a different path. And actually a few months ago, I was from time to time like to look at my old stuff. And I started building out this pattern of how you go from, not being aware to being a customer. And I had this 5-step arrow. And if you look at it, all this came back. I mean, it was the inbound journey. Right. And I remember as I got exposed more and more to HubSpot stuff, I'm like, yeah, well, that's not right. Cause really what this is, it's the commit. It's not the engage or whatever. And then I realized, I said, wait a second, you know what? HubSpot's got a lot more juice than I do. Maybe I should adopt their language rather than trying to build my own. So I found a kindred spirit, right? We were complementary and we were pulling in the right place. And no one wins the Tour de France by themselves, right? It's an individual sport, but your team you partner with, that's how you win. That's especially how you win the infinite game. So I went on a little bit longer than I intended, but that's my,
no, it's valuable. It's valuable. Yeah. And I think that the thing that I heard as a common theme throughout was the idea that looking for value gaps that are filled by another organization, intentional or otherwise, to your point, looking for ways in which you can, because you're obviously very customer centric, but the way you can add more value to the work that you're doing is by not reinventing the wheel, for lack of a better expression, right? And so you're talking about designing this journey that already exists and you find this kindred spirit. That's a bit of a lightning strike moment. I have to imagine that there's days you may look back and think that the partnership may have, launched you forward in that sense or kind of helped you to grow. So the thing that I'm always curious of is as you progress down the road alongside a partner like HubSpot, are there things that you've learned, lessons, let's say through those interactions, through the partner dynamic or just in your own business life, lessons that you think every person should learn? And it's a very, again, like 30,000 foot. But what I'm thinking about, and I want to hear your thoughts here is, what are those things that you learn, outside of school, outside of friends, outside of even really, your colleagues, so much as like watching this thing that you've built, this living being evolve and grow and mature and progress by working with another like-minded group of people, doing the same.
So you remember the days I could lay out a plan like nobody's business. I could define goals, the math behind, and I had all the, here's where we're going to be. And what's funny? When we actually started to experience really rapid growth was when I finally was like, I'm sick of that. I'm sick. You know what? I'm just going to run this business. I'm going to make the decisions I think I need to make. I'm going to forget I'm going to forget my 5-year plan or whatever. If I had thought about, like when I started working with HubSpot, I didn't have hey, I'm going to be an elite partner. I mean, you remember when you told me when there was, Doug, I really think you could be diamond. You remember, I don't care if I'm diamond or not, right? It's like,
it drove me crazy, to be clear. And now I look back, I understand why, but it did drive me crazy at the time.
And so it's like, when I got married, a really weird thing. I'm Jewish. So when I got married, I had seen the Unity Candle ceremony and it always bothered me. And so what I did, which was bizarre that we had a Unity Candle ceremony in a Jewish wedding, but what we did that was different is we had the 2 candles, we lit the 1 candle, and then we put the 2 candles back. And my point was we got married. So the 2 became 1, but we didn't lose who we are. Right. And so I think that, like, the key to a partnership is it is a mutual journey. And there are days where I get angry at HubSpot. There are days that I get very, very, very angry at HubSpot. And I'm sure there are days that HubSpot gets angry at me. And you know what? That's what happens in a family. And so it's not like, the thing that scares me about partner programs today is they're increasingly transactional. It's like community-led growth. In my opinion, the moment you say that, you've just put the first piece of acid in there, because community doesn't form to grow. Communities, like, you can create the condition for a community to form, but you can never make a community form. I can make the conditions of a partner program, but just because you pay me and I sell you, that's not a partnership. I think the biggest lesson that I learned is one of the biggest dangers of a partner program. And that is, you get exposed to so much good stuff that you try to take a little of this and a little of that, and you become Frankenstein, or you always feel like you're going in the wrong place because everyone's telling you how they just had this great story. And I think I think partnerships are a requirement, but you also have to have the commitment to play your game. And that means accepting the fact that, I might be wrong. And when I'm wrong, I'm going to adjust. And I hope to be a partner with HubSpot for a very, very long time. I hope it sustains. I think it will. But I also know HubSpot doesn't wake up and say, what's the decision that we can make to make Doug's life better today? Nor should they. And I don't wake up and say, what do I need to do to make HubSpot's like, so we're on a journey together. We're kindred spirits, and I hope it sustains, but we're also still following our paths. And I think that, a partnership is a family.
I love that. What a brilliant way to end our conversation today. I really want to highlight that specific comment you made around not just family, but there's a sense of forgiveness there, a sense of trust. And right, what I'm hearing you say, perhaps without saying it, is we're both agreeing to invest in this together for the betterment of our companies, our customers, the kind of collective as a whole in terms of building an ecosystem. And I really appreciate the intentionality around that both parties should be aware of that building a partner community is not just about saying we're going to do something and then someone sells something and someone benefits from it, so much as both investing in the collective outcome, which is, toward progress, toward growth, and providing a product and a solution to the market people actually get value from. So this is awesome. Exceptional conversation today, my friend. If people want to connect with you on social media and whatnot, where should they find you?
Let's see. Until Elon Musk blows up the rest of the world, you can get me on Twitter at Doug Davidoff. I'm also on LinkedIn, imaginellc.com.
Love it.
Throw up smoke signals, send out a carrier pigeon.
It's brilliant. I'll send the pigeon your way. Good to see you again, my friend. Again, imaginellc.com. Check them out. Really phenomenal product. This is a great conversation. I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll do it again soon.